Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into
We're
Wine.
getting started here in just a
It's
second,
time
everybody.
for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ian Blackburn, and I'll be your host tonight for a session of Zoom into Wine. Tonight, we're taking a look at our top performing wines of 2021. And there were some fun criteria to be able to get to this point. The wines had to be really good. They had to be some of our top sellers, and the price point had to be aligned. You could always put a list of top most expensive wines I've ever tasted in 2021 together, but what I love to show is some really high quality stuff I love to drink, and also see that the response of the audience has been very favorable towards these wines. So the wines that we selected tonight are really great and available right now, which is the other criteria that we want to have, is be able to show you wines that you can still attain. So let's take a look at our slideshow for tonight and be able to taste these wines together. The audience that is at home with our Zoom kits, I welcome you. You are part of the show, and I'd love to hear from you. I see some people already chatting in the chat box, so please do use that, but also just ask me a question at any point in time. I'd love to answer any questions you have about wine, and you should be able to see the slideshow at this point. That should be up there. We're going to go right into that. In tonight's topic, our top wines of 2021. We're going to start off, I'm going to start off with rosé. So this is in the wrong order. Let me not do that and go forward to this one. Our top rosé, wine number one. This is from Ultimate Provence. This is their Up. And these guys are really serious about their rosé. They own a couple of Relais and Chateau level resorts in Provence, and some of the historical land around the resorts planted two grapes for a considerable amount of time. And they make a couple different cuvées, but this one really is in a beautiful package and performed very well at our Stars of Rosé, which we had last April. And from that time forward, sales of this product did very well, even though it's in the upper level, around $20. We do have a lot of rosés on our website between $9 and $15, but this one was one that people kept coming back to and really did perform well. Now, if you haven't been to Provence, really good moment for me to plug the idea of visiting my website, winela.com, where I am currently organizing a trip to Provence and the Rhone for early April 2022. We just got back from Italy. Our group had a great time, and I'm confident by April, if all things continue on the trajectory that they're at, we'll be back in a safe spot like we were at the end of November when we went to Italy. Anyway, back to this wine coming from Provence. Provence, right on the Mediterranean Ocean, has this amazing weather patterns, water accumulation, soil types, and pedigree history. This is like where the Romans planted grapes first, so there's some amazing history here. The first spot the Romans planted in France, that is, which, by the way, was planted a lot later than most of all other Europe, like 1,500 years after they planted Spain. So the French, the Romans, maybe they just didn't get along that well, and it took a while, but they made it, and there is amazing wine in France because of it. Now, the French get very organized, and they have good processes to organize the information and to control quality through standards of production and education, things that really a lot of countries just didn't take seriously until much later. And now almost everyone is following the French AOC wine law kind of framework. Protection of place, protection of production method, protection of name, all these things start to add up and create a good foundation to build a wine industry on top of. And that's why we know of Provence as being a great rosé destination today. It would be hard to name a great rosé destination in, say, Italy or Spain, but they do make great rosé. It's just they haven't put that foundation down for as long to really kind of reiterate that in a consistent way. So kudos to France for really figuring that out early on. And when we're going to taste this rosé together, and I'm looking for my Coravin unit. Here it is. Okay. And now I need my glass. All right, so I'm a big believer in Coravin, and I'm going to Coravin my wine here in a moment, but I just want to show you a couple more slides to get you in the mood for this Provence rosé. Of course, Provence is famous for lots of different things as well as wine. Lavender and their resort type location, real close, and in fact envelops Cannes, where the Cannes Film Festival is. So a lot of people maybe have been there and not realized they were in such a world-class wine zone. If you haven't used Coravin before, I poured all of the samples for this event tonight via Coravin into the small jars that we sent out. And we did have quite a few people buy full bottles kits and have those delivered for home use as well. But let's get in the mood here. One more slide. Nice warm weather and wonderful summers. You've got the Mistral effect that influences most of the south of France, and really these are winds that come in and just keep a lot of issues away from the vines, including birds and other stuff, and allow for the moisture that accumulates in the vineyard to dry out, which is very important, allowing for the vintage to go on without problems with mildew. And while we taste our rosé, let's see a little video that was produced by our friends at Ultimate Provence. Right. Let's see if I can get past that. Now, this is our winemaker, and I got to interview him for our Stars of Rosé last year, which is quite a lengthy session, so I'm going to skip that. But if any of you want to get a copy of the video with the winemaker, you can visit our website and see these links right on the Wine, a merchant of wine, where you can connect with that winemaker and see that video. So we post those videos. There is also a Zoom into Wine archive of all of the Zooms that we've done over the past year and a half, and that means at least one a week, sometimes two a week. So quite a bit of stuff up there on the Zoom into Wine archive, located at the very bottom of the website, down around contact us and stuff like that. You'll see the Zoom into Wine archive. All right. So what we got that's special in Provence about the way these wines are made, basically you got a number of different grape varieties: Grenache, Mourvedre, Syrah being the primary ones. Roll is a Vermentino, also very important grape variety, especially in this particular cuvee. They take the grapes and they do a very long and hard press. So the actual color is coming out of the skins right on the press. So they pick and they press immediately, direct to press it's called. And then it goes straight into a cool fermentation vat, probably stainless steel. Maybe a little bit of wine and wood at some occasion, but the use of oak is not very effective or efficient. You want to keep it nice and clean and bright, so you're only going to use oak on a limited amount of the production. That direct to press method is what gives us that really fresh, bright color, soft color. It is a little hard to control color in that method, but when you make rosé every year and that's your main production, you get pretty good at it. And that's how they do it. Now they can make rosé by making a white wine and a red wine and blending them together. That's an absolutely fine way to do it. Another way is to do what's called repli, or what's called where they're going to take the red fruits that they put in the tank, and as they bleed off the juice, or remove some of the juice from the tank, they're going to increase the quality of the red wine that they're going to make, and they're going to get some pink juice immediately out of the tank, and they're going to have a little rosé. It's called Signé, and that Signé method is also done. So you've got direct to press, Signé, and that kind of blending method. Those are the ways we make rosé in the world. So these guys are pretty serious, okay? We're talking, they might have a fun video with a nice hip rhythm to it, but they've got 3 estates that are very significant. Well, it looks like there's even a 4th one here. I haven't, it's not included in the effort that I'm shown by my distributor, so that's probably another brand that's outside of the distributor. But these 3 estates are wines that I've tasted, and the Up wine has really been one of my favorites. I really love the Chateau de Bern wine as well, but it is considerably more expensive. And again, attached to the wine and the reputation of the wine is the reputation of the estate, and they've got some real flagship hotels and visitation expectations. So they're putting really nice naming and branding together. And you might find these wines in other countries around the world too. This is not some faddish rosé that's only made for, say, our Hollywood market or California market, but really made in a fun way. All right. Any comments about the first rosé? Anybody taste it and have any comments about it? Kellyanna, I saw you guys in there earlier. Hi.
The first taste had absolutely no flavor.
Oh no!
And then I was wondering if I had COVID or something. But then afterwards, I think I just poured it in the glass and had a taste. And
just weren't. Are you chewing gum?
She did not drink any.
That's funny. Well, yeah. So I'd say the wines of rosé of Provence tend to be pretty subtle. And not supposed to knock you out with amazing power or anything like that. It's all about freshness and lean, bright, fresh, crisp acidity. And I think this wine delivers that. I'm hoping that your second sip is much more rewarding than your first.
It was.
Cool. What is? How do I pronounce your name?
Alyani.
Aliani. And what is that? Your daughter?
This is my daughter, Sitara.
That's a fantastic bubble. You've got talent. All right. We're going to move on to wine number 2. So that was our top rosé offering from Up. I see Lisa Test back there. Not sure what you're drinking, Lisa, but if you're drinking with me, I'd love to hear from you. David, I know you got the wines as well. There's quite a few people got the wines that aren't watching the Zoom right now, but you can always watch our Zoom on Facebook, and also if the timing doesn't work out, you can come back and see it a little bit later. But a really good way to taste some great wines. We're going to move into wine number 2, which is our wine from Portugal, and this will have a little bit more presence in the glass. I've got to go back to the top here. There we go. Looking at a wine that is really one of our best values on the website, brought in by a friend of mine, an actual graduate of our wine program that we call Learn About Wine School or Law School. She passed her bar exam, the Beverage Aptitude Review, and went on to become a wine importer. She is Portuguese and works for a major company in marketing, and her husband invested in being an importer. So they've been setting this up and securing some relationships and getting these wines out to some really good accounts. Not the biggest brands, but really good quality brands. And Chaparello, I've sold, so many cases of this. And we just brought in another click of it. I'm not sure how much more 19 she has, but this wine's in great shape and is not your grandma's fizzy Vino Verde. Vino Verde is the name of the place, and it's also the name of the wine because it's so prevalent on the bottle. People order a glass of Vino Verde and expect something that might even have a little bit of sweetness, a little bit more sweetness than what we're going to taste here today. This wine is made from Luero and Orinto, and this white wine grown in this amazing zone in the northern part of Portugal, right below the Spanish, I guess where Albarino, which is also a Portuguese grape variety, but Rias Baixas, right above Portugal, is very famous for Albarino, and they make a lot of wine. In fact, Vino Verde wines made from Albarino are, and it's not really pronounced that way, but Albarino is how you pronounce it. It just got an HO in the end. That's what the Portuguese do to it. And this wine has the ability to convert people to wine fans. So let's say you're not a wine drinker. This is the kind of wine I'd like you to be able to taste to see if you like better wine. When you smell this wine, you're going to smell earth. That's what distinguishes kind of wines made in the old world in Portugal, Spain, France, Europe, versus a California wine, which when you smell that, you're going to smell more sunshine. Here you smell lots of stone, because this is really stony, rocky terroir, and right behind the stone you can really smell some nice fruits. It's almost like, it smells like perfume. It's got this really pretty state, and it's pretty recessed, or restrained is a word we would use to describe that nose, because you're looking at alcohols down around 12, in fact 11 and a half. Comes in just a little bit kind of plush, and maybe you might even think sweet, and then bone dry, which is really great. that the pH here, the minerality is really reflected in this wine. And these guys are a family that's been growing grapes. I guess 2008 is when they really put a lot of effort into establishing their farming program, and really they carry very high ethos, and biodiversity is a very big important part of grape growing. So being able to sustain the farm without pesticides and herbicides, these are all very important things happening in the wine world right now. And they do have a number of things on the back label of this wine that speak to the ethos of the brand. This is going to be a big thing for the future of wine, so you're going to see this continue to develop and communicated in different ways on bottles of wine. But that is our slideshow. A little limited on that one for the Chaparello because it's a pretty small brand and don't have a huge marketing budget to develop a lot of material yet, but they make only about 5,000 cases of wine. And what we've seen in America up until now are producers that make 5 million cases of Vino Verde. So really big producers there have established a reputation, but now you're going to see an onslaught of small producers coming in, especially with support of the EU, in developing the American market for Portuguese wine. And they're really going out and helping find people to represent these great products. What I love about this wine is it's got good concentration, really fun. I love the minerality in the nose, the smell of that wet stone, and that I get like a mixture of stoniness. I can't tell if it's just schist and granite and things like that. In this particular wine, it's probably got it all in there. Some you can smell granitic type of character, but here it's a really nice just stony mixture, and you get this really fun kind of apricot and citrus and quince and dried fruits and things like that. So really a fun wine. I hope you guys enjoy it. $16.95 or so, a really a good value. You might even be able to find a little bit better price on our website right now for this particular show. And everybody that's on our show tonight got a special discount code, which we do every time we do a Zoom. If you're a Zoom member, you get all the discount codes whether you participate in the Zoom or not. And so we try to encourage our audience to be a participant there. And sometimes the actual codes work, Lisa. Sorry that your code didn't work. I'll be sending you a special thing later. All right. We're going to move into wine number 3. We've had a rosé, we've had our white, and now we're going to move into wine number 3. And I am failing. Hold on a second. There we go. Give me number 14, 15. Thank you. There it is. Wine number 3 is our Pinot Noir selection, and as I put this top list together, I'm looking at different opportunities that we have for this. Barda came into us later in the year, around October. We got this wine. This is a wine that I was just super excited to receive. The brand is called Bodega Chakra. It is grown in Patagonia, and it is produced by an amazing guy who I've met many years ago. His family owns a very successful winery in Tuscany called Tenuta San Guido, and he is the grandson. And they sent him around the world to get educated, and he did some education, some school here at Pepperdine. And because I was in the wine business doing my activities, he got involved and we became friends. And I've been able to go and taste wine at Tenuta San Guido with him, and Their famous wine is called Sassicaia. And so this comes from some nobility, and it's in southern Argentina in the Patagonian forest. And he found this old vine vineyard planted to Pinot Noir 80 years ago. And he brought in a bunch of experts to help kind of nurse this vineyard to health before he got started. So the investment's been pretty huge. But he's got this old clones and old material that he's able to work with. And I'll plant the seed now. We're planning to go to Argentina in July. And if you hear me talk about a lot of trips, it's because I've been cooped up for, just like you, for the last year and a half. And I'm accustomed to traveling quite a bit. I'm going to take matters into my own hands this year and planned quite a bit of travel. So the week of July 4th weekend, we are going to target being in Argentina, and we're going to try to go to both Mendoza and to Patagonia, and hopefully we can include a trip to see Barta, because it is going to be a very special brand years from now. It is well on its way. This is the new facility, and you can tell just by looking at the ground. Building wasn't even quite finished when they took this promotional shot. In fact, he was a little upset that I got this picture, because he's like, "No, we've got beautiful trees and plants now. It looks gorgeous." So I got to get that picture. But I'll talk over the top of this video for a second. As it goes on for a while, we won't be able to talk with Piero and Chiza for very long. I'll just let him talk once that video figures it out. Let me get this one in the glass. In the meantime, I should probably caution you on this wine too. You need to give this a minute to kind of wake up in the glass. Maybe even a minute just to adjust your own senses here, because we're changing grape variety and changing place and all that stuff. And I'm going to get up here in the video and try to get it to a point where Piero says hi so you can see him. But this wine is not a powerful Pinot. This wine has got amazing ability to kind of seem kind of light and tender at the beginning, but really blossom, especially as it opened up. I have a bottle at home that I opened on Sunday, and just keeps getting better and better as it opens up, and it really responds to the air and becomes quite lively and more multi-dimensional. I'd be curious to hear what you think about the wine, as it's been in the decanter for a little while and the video is not cooperating, but that's been my electronic day today. That is Piero right there, so that's all we get to see of him. He's much better looking than that, but his little 2-year-old boy is sitting on his lap. He's trying to make room for him as he's zooming with me. Anyway, we'll move on. We're gonna get this wine in our glass and taste it together. So Barta means the ridge. It's 100% biodynamic, super high ethos, meaning they are really working the vines with their hands. No chemicals, no herbicides, pesticides, but even more, it's almost spiritual grape growing at the biodynamic level. Really being kind of creating a system, an ecosystem that you can develop trust in, because everything is in balance. The flowers and the water and the type of bugs that you're working to attract with flowers and legumes and different plants, animals, things like that. And you're working the vineyard not with machines, but with horse or bull or donkey or whatever it is that you use to pull the sled through the vineyard. You might be making what are called teas, herbal teas from your own plants. And after you've made the wine, you take the waste material, you turn it into fertilizer, and back into the vineyard it goes. So you are very sustainable because it's a complete circular ecosystem, and that's what biodynamics really represents, is that circular ecosystem. Really important. Again, these vineyards planted a long time ago. They weren't in good shape when he got the vineyard, but he got the vineyard back in the late 2000s, and he spent many years making advancements and bringing in experts and getting this vineyard to full health. And here are some more dramatic photos. Those are the cow horns that they bury with manure in them, and they create these crystallized teas by doing this process. Really fascinating if you've never seen it before. Pinot Noir is light in color because it's got very thin skins. Drinking great. It's almost like crispy cherry skins. It's so it's got this freshness, this youth. It really cleanses the palate too. There's great acidity here, and I love the way that thing just acts in my and kind of stimulates my appetite, my refreshes my palate. And this is, if you like Beaujolais, if you like Pinot Noir, if you like just kind of wines of really high ethos, and you're looking for something with quality, this is where I would go. You're looking at a bottle of wine that's in the high 20s, around $27, $28. But that's a lot of boxes to check for a $28 bottle of wine, biodynamic old vines from Patagonia, you know, all that. What do you think of the Pinot Noir? Did you like it? Yeah? All right. Cool. Yeah, this is, I do believe that the world is out of this wine. It got 93 points by James Uckling, so I'm not alone in my opinion of the wine. But he placed it in his top 100, and he's very invested not only in the relationship with this brand, but also in Argentina. And so his top 100 wines got picked off pretty quickly. And if there is any out there, it's probably already in the stream. We have about, I don't know, 7 or 8 6-packs left. I took a pretty big position on it, and I don't think I can get any more. So it's there until it's gone, or until I drink it all, which is definitely possible. Okay, we're going to move into our fourth wine. And this wine had a little bit of a learning curve. The first part is, how do you pronounce it? This is Moss Grand Plagnol. I don't know if the marketing department had any influence on that name, but that's a mouthful. And it is from Southern Rhone, which we're going to get to know a lot about in the next month, because our next event, big event after our Stars of California next week, is the Stars of the Rhone Valley. And we are, in past years, we made Stars of the Rhone an international Rhone gathering, but this year we're going top quality, and we're going exclusively to the Rhone, to places like Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Hermitage, Crozes Hermitage. We'll hit Vaccarat and Van Cruz. And so we're going to have some really top brands in that event. The reason this won't be in our Stars event is because this is just on the value side. It is an appellation wine. Doesn't quite carry the cachet that we're going to hit with our Stars of wine. But man, did we sell a lot of this wine in the last year. And right before the vintage is going to change, we grabbed a huge chunk of this 2017. So I am sitting in really good position on this, because the next vintage that comes in might be 19. because they had the foresight. 18's good, 19's better, 17's better, so the vintage was working in their favor. 17's a really good and fun, exciting vintage. I don't know if you can see at home just how dark and dense the color is here, but these are the types of grape varieties where you can get good color concentration. And I smell Rhone wines like this. Get this like chocolatey, coffeed, toasted, roasted coffee. How about that? Plum skin, black pepper. This is a 60 Grenache, 35 Syrah, 5 Cinsault. And to show you on a map where this appellation is, Costers de Nimes. Costers de Nimes. Help me out if you speak French. But way down here in the southern part, most producers that grow grapes down here just sell their fruit to cooperatives to make Côte de Rhône. That way they don't have to own a winery, they don't have to sell wine, they grow grapes, they sell them, they're done. Boom. That isn't the best living, because you're not getting paid a whole lot for the grapes and you get one harvest a year. So a lot of people have been taking a little more destiny into their own hands and making bigger efforts, and really trying to establish this as a better appellation. It's in the neighborhood of great appellations. It just needs a little branding. And if you make a wine that's this good and you can sell it for even a low price, you could probably make a heck of a lot more money than just selling the fruit for Côte de Rhône, which just does not warrant much capital. So we taste, and just really, again, that roasted fruits and stuff like that on the nose. Smoky, roasted, toasted, and it all kind of makes sense because this area is one of the warmer parts of France, right on the Rhone River, and it's covered in stones. And this appellation just makes really ripe wines. They can get quite high in alcohol, although this one does not. You can find Rhone wines close to 16%. I'm looking for the alcohol here. $13.5. So I would, this is definitely being more classic in nature. And at this price point, they're looking for, efficiencies and stuff. They're not concentrating this wine in wood barrels for a long period of time, 12 months in time and aging duration, and it's 100% concrete. So very little oxygen getting involved here, just a small amount, and a nice élevage in the winery, concrete, keeping it really clean, and then very few inputs here. Really a natural, finding agents 0, filtered yes, malolactic yes, sulfur a little, of course, just to all any wine that you're going to age for a period of time, a little bit of sulfur, but minimal amounts. You shouldn't have any problems. If there was too much sulfur, you'd smell it, and it smells like rotten eggs. So we always use very little sulfur in making wine, and I would stay away from the marketing. A lot of these wineries are talking about lowering the sulfur counts. We did this before in the 1990s, and a lot of dead wines showed up in the market. It's called pre-mox. They did not sulfur the wines enough, and they all showed up flat and dead. You need enough sulfur to protect the wine in the bottle for a period of time, and it's parts per million. It's teeny, minute amounts that you cannot detect. All right, getting off the soapbox here, we've got gravelly soils and the vine age about 25 years. That's Moss Grand Plagnol, and that's Roger Mares. He's the producer, and this wine's imported by a teeny producer, really good quality stuff from them. If a bigger company got this wine, it would probably cost $20+ on my website. So being able to sell this wine for about $15 is just an unbelievable deal. In fact, I think it's in the high 13s, and this wine is just insane for $14 all day long. I tell people to buy this wine, and we sell a good amount of it, and it deserves every case sale that we can make. Very proud of this one. All right. David, I'm a big fan of your first three choices. Met the winemaker Bodega Chakra. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for the message. And Lisa's drinking some Cologne Segure from France. Very nice. Getting in the mood there, Lisa. A little French mood. All right. We are going to move into my final of our top 5. Best-selling Cabernet last year. We had a number of Cabernets come and go. This one I been able to roll from the 17 to the 18 vintage. I may actually even like the 18 more. 17 and 18 are both great vintages for me, for what I like in wine. This producer is pretty new. Not a lot of people are going to know this Stackhouse name yet, but in a couple of years I think they will. Just finished my Rhone. I'm going to move into the Napa Cab, which the bottle I'm pouring today and for everybody was the 17. I do have the 18 in house also. We are down to our last maybe case or two of the 17, but I already have the 18 here. This is obviously Napa Valley Cabernet, and it comes from some really good sites throughout the Napa Valley, so it's not limited to any one particular vineyard, which allows them to be a little bit more responsive financially. If you contract with a vineyard, you're going to pay a lot of money for the fruit. There's been some great opportunities over the last 5 years to not overpay for fruit, and they took advantage of that product. This is the winemaker, Anna Monticelli. She used to work at Bryant Family and was tutored by Philippe Melka. She has a great resume and a huge number of clients under her belt. This is a product that she and another friend of mine are involved in financially. And the composition of the 17 that we're drinking, you can see it comes from a pretty wide selection of the Napa Valley. A little bit outside the Napa Valley too, which you're allowed to do. As long as you have at least 75% of the wine in the Napa Valley, you can call it Napa Valley wine. They've got about 8% of the wine being outside of the Napa boundaries, Mendocino, Lake County. Varietal composition here, something she's very accustomed to, is working with Malbec. She makes an amazing Malbec that's also on our website from Napa Valley, and I just am blown away by the California Malbecs. They're really incredible, and I really think they'll continue to take share. But this wine has 9% Malbec. It's one of the Bordeaux 5 grape varieties: Cab, Malbec, Merlot, Cab Franc. Petit Verdot would be the one that she's not deciding to use here, and it's a wine that's often not used, but sometimes even bottled on its own. Some people love it, some people prefer not to use it, just depends. 100% French oak, 50% new. So that's a big investment in a bottle of wine that we sell for around 30, maybe 35 bucks at the highest. This is aged 32 months in wood. That's wooden bottle, I think, is a combination there. I think it's 24 months in wood, and then 8 months in the bottle before it's released. Carries around 14.8 alcohol, very Napa Valley number, and only producing 4,000 cases. This is a teeny production for a wine of this price. If you're making $20 bottles of wine, let's say you're selling at $360 a case because you buy a whole case. That's 30 bucks a bottle or so. Just do the math and multiply that times 400. That's not creating a whole lot of money, but this wine is creating a whole lot of expenses. So there's a long-term plan here to build this label, to really invest in bringing you into the fold and getting involved in Stackhouse, and this is an exciting project. I'm going to taste this wine with you guys now. Super great color. This is not your thin, can't even tell it's Cabernet wine. This has got just, I mean, if I was swirling it around, you could tell me this is a $200 bottle of wine, and I would say it has that kind of concentration, color, and reaction. You can tell me it's a $150, $200 bottle of wine, and I smell this wine. I've smelt a lot of $150, $200 bottles of wine that have that same oak concentration, power kind of dynamic. If I paid 150 bucks for this, I might start to be critical at this point. It has very good fruit and very good structure and very good concentration, but maybe not $150 level. It's to me a really fantastic $50 bottle of wine that we're paying around $32, $33 for. So that's a great value equation from Napa Valley, and those words usually don't go together very well. That is our top 5. It's been a very exciting and long day for us. I get in on Tuesdays early in the morning, help get all of our deliveries together at the Merchant of Wine. I'm out doing some work in the field. We got some big scores today for my brand I make called Beekeeper. I make Zinfandel. Connoisseur's Guide came out, gave us 95 points today for our brand new 2018. Thank you. I'm very, very happy with the words that they put together, even more than the score. So that's very exciting. We'll have, thank you, David. We'll have some Beekeeper involved in the Stars of California next Wednesday if you're participating. Stars of California wine, we'll have 6 winemakers on this Zoom. We're going to taste wines from all different corners of California, from Santa Barbara to Napa, Sonoma, and some areas in between, and some really cool wines you may know, some wines you may not. But the winemakers are all involved, and I'm real excited. We got a nice audience coming together, so join us soon. We still have a few more spots available, but it is possible it could sell out, which would be pretty exciting. And then the Stars of the Rhone Valley will be going on sale next Wednesday, the day of Stars of California. So when that happens, just check out the wine list. It's going to be insane. I'm really getting a lot of our work here, so love to see you guys for that. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed our top 5 wines. Just to recap, you can always go to the website, look at the Zoom Into Wine page, and you can see all the wines listed there. You can even click on the wine and go straight to it if you want to buy some. Up Rosé was our rosé of the year this last year. Top performer, great seller, and still very charming. The Chaparello Vino Verde, our white. Again, our white value, best-selling. The Barda Pinot Noir was number 3 from Patagonia, in and around less than $30. That is just delicious stuff, and I'll tell you, that's a wine that can catch. Like, I could spend a lot of time with that bottle, just sitting around tasting, swirling, tasting, smelling, just so hypnotic to me. I love that. On the little more hedonistic side, the Moscron Plagnol from the Southern Rhone, just so delicious. Barbecue, hello. If you're putting ribs on the barbecue, oh, so delicious here. Just any kind of meats, smoked meats, steak. So good. Plagnol, that's a winner. And then our Stackhouse Cabernet, you can have with or without food. That's just a super fun Cabernet to be discovered. You know what I can say right now, 17 to 18, is I just tasted the 18, is I do think that the 17 has a little bit more up front at this point because it's a year older and it's softened up, and it's got a really nice sense of balance between all those big pieces of wood and oak and all that. I think 18 has just a little bit more palate weight and chewiness, a little more tannin structure. I think here that's where it kind of falls off pretty quickly at the end, but to me, at that $30 price point, my expectations are a little, kind of in place there. I think they did a really good job on 17. I think 18 will impress you as well. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. Merchant of Wine, Zoom Into Wine. Lisa, take care. Have a good night.
Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.